Cross-contamination can cause dangerous foodborne illnesses. To make sure this doesn't happen, it is important to keep everything separate. Keep raw ingredients away from ready-to-eat items and always use separate utensils for each type of food you are preparing. You always want to use separate cutting boards when dealing with raw poultry, beef, fish, or eggs. Bacteria can spread in the coolers if the products are not kept separate, as juices and bacteria can drip or spill over onto other foods. When serving dishes, always use separate utensils. Do not use the same spoon when serving a meat item and a non-meat item. Also, when cutting ingredients, make sure you are using the correct cutting boards and knives that are clearly marked for that particular item. These steps will help eliminate the risk of potential cross-contamination. Another important thing to remember is to never put cooked food on a plate that has been holding uncooked food. Remember, when you prepare or serve food for the public, you are responsible for their health and safety. Be smart, keep foods apart. This picture is a perfect example of how you should dress when entering the kitchen. This volunteer has her hair in a hairnet, is wearing modest, clean clothing, has her apron and gloves on properly, and is wearing closed-toed shoes. A hairnet or hat should be worn around all food to prevent contamination. Also, avoid wearing hair accessories that could fall out and become physical contaminants. A clean apron and clothing are very important in keeping your prep and cooking area free of contaminations. Always be sure your clothes are free of lint and pet dander before putting on your apron. Be sure your apron is free of tears and loose strings that could dip into the food, and change it as soon as it becomes excessively dirty. Lastly, avoid wearing jewelry while handling food. These items could fall off and become a physical contaminant. Even if you are able to retrieve the jewelry, the entire batch of food will have to be discarded. To properly wash your hands, first turn on the water to the hottest setting that you can handle. Then, apply a generous amount of soap and wash them under the water for 26 to 30 seconds. This can usually be done by singing happy birthday to yourself. Make sure to get under your nail beds and in between all of your fingertips. Once you have finished rinsing your hands off, use paper towels to dry them. Never use your apron or other cloths lying around. Use the paper towel to turn off the water and throw the paper towel into the trash. Disposable gloves should be worn while sorting product, prepping food, and serving meals. Put gloves on after washing your hands and change into fresh ones as soon as they become dirty or torn, or after handling raw meat and before serving ready-to-eat food. Anytime you leave the kitchen or prep area, you must take off your apron and hairnet. This includes while eating, going to the restroom, and going outside for any reason. You must also remove your gloves and put on a new pair when re-entering the kitchen and after washing your hands. To wash dishes, simply thoroughly rinse them in the sink area and place them in the appropriate rack. Slide the full rack into the dish machine and pull down the lever. Remember, the dish machine is more of a sanitizer than a washer, so be sure to rinse off all stuck-on foods. Once the dishes are dry, simply place them in their appropriate spots. When serving food, be sure to wear gloves and all proper attire. Keep the tongs and the spoons in their appropriate food items to prevent contamination, and when putting down the utensils, make sure the handle is above the rim of the container. Hold the dish you are serving by the bottom or the edge as to not touch the food on the plate. Lastly, do not refill dirty plates. The drink station is located in the back of the eating area. Before service, fill a container of ice to put on the table, bring out any drinks that are to be served for that meal, and place 2 racks of clean cups on the counter. Carry and place the cups in the rack to avoid them touching the counter, and do not stack the racks when carrying them.
Start by coming over, turning on the power button, open it up, make sure the water level is up at the proper level inside here. Put your product in there, close the door. This is a steam table where it holds our food at the proper serving temperatures. We have 5 different steam wells. Temperature controls are below. Right in the middle is a good temperature. We'll hold your temperature at 145 to 160 degrees, which is critical for serving. Always make sure your water levels are proper. There's always water in it. If you add water to 1, they will self-level out through the 5. And once again, it holds the serving food at a proper temperature, not used for cooking, just for serving. These are our 2 gas convection ovens used for baking, heating, various things that an oven normally would do. To operate, come over, push the oven on, fan on to high, then set your temperature to desired temperature. When the indicator light goes off, that means it's your desired temperature and you're ready to bake. This is a gas jacketed kettle powered by gas. Simple as turning on, adjusting your temperature, used to heat soups, gravies, things like that. More to heat, not so much to cook. Safety feature, pull this out to tip forward to empty. Once it goes all the way down, it'll lock. Once again, push down, pull out, and come back up. This is our 10-burner gas stove. Simple as turn it on front, back, which are aligned properly in front of each burner. When you walk away, just make sure they're turned off. This is our tilt skillet, which is exactly what it sounds. It's a big skillet for cooking, boiling, frying in. It actually tilts for easy transfer the food into our food service pans. Over on the right hand side over here is a temperature control and a timer, and these guys are going to demonstrate how it works. This is our exhaust hood controls. We have lights and the fans. Both of them must be on before any equipment is used, and when finished, simply turn them off. This is our ANSEL system, or fire suppression system. If you have a fire around any of the kitchen equipment that's not easily contained, you need to come over and do exactly what it says, pull, and that will put the fire out.
Holding food at the proper temperature is one of the most important steps in food safety. Use a thermometer to check internal food temperatures every 2 hours. Hot food must be held at 135 degrees or higher, and cold food must be held at 41 degrees or lower. To properly store food, put the leftover food in its proper container and wrap it in plastic wrap. You must date all food with a day's date and sign your initials on the top. Then you can place it in its proper storage area. All leftover food has a shelf life of 3 days, and once it has been reheated, it cannot be stored again. Remember, first in, first out.